Welcome to San Diego Short Film Festival. Please, can you introduce yourself?
I'm Anisa Mehdi. I'm the executive producer of Sheikh Temple, A New Day Dawns. And we're so excited to have been selected to be part of this festival.
We are so excited to have you here. You look absolutely stunning. And we have some questions that we would like to know. Can you please tell us a little bit about what exactly about that story that inspired you, that you feel called to share it with the world?
There are a lot of communities these days being destroyed by outside forces, military in lots of cases, lots of hatred, lots of misunderstanding, and fear produced among people. This particular story is one that has been forgotten for some time. This is the story of the Yazidis of northwestern Iraq, who were confronted by ISIS in August of 2014. Most of the community, tens of thousands of people, fled their homes, which are at the base of a magnificent mountain range called the Sinjar or Shingal Mountains, in west of the Tigris River. And they went up the mountain, which is their holy mountain. It's where they have their shrines, to hide. ISIS came up after them, destroyed the shrines. Many people died. And it was 8 years before this particular family got to go home. And when they went home, they were met with disaster, rubble, 8 years later. And we, through a series of wonderful coincidences, which are not really coincidences, we met this young man who was 14 when they ran away, 22 or so when they came back. And we gave him a camera. He'd never held a camera before, but he has a gift. And he wanted to tell a story. I said, what do you want to say? He wanted to tell a story about returning to the family shrine, which had been destroyed and was partially rebuilt now, and how grateful he was to be home, and how much strength he takes from his faith, which is the Yazidi or Yazidi faith, which is a monotheistic faith with which most of us are not familiar.
Thank you so much for sharing that. I always feel like you have to have such a big heart in order to be able to forgive and also share that kind of stories with the world and feel gratitude for what you're doing.
Diana, one of the reasons this film inspires me is for those other communities, like Gaza. And when there is peace in Gaza, may their young filmmakers find the kind of hope that Fahed Shammo found when he got home, to tell a story that allows a future, a positive future to come from calamity.
It's very inspiring. What kind of research did you have to do in order for this film to be made?
I was very fortunate to have an associate on this project, a Benedictine nun named Sister Makrina Finlay, born in Mendocino County, California, but living in a monastery in Germany. And she worked with the asylum program in her monastery, and many Yazidis went there for asylum. And so she learned the language, which is called Kurmanji. And she has worked as our interpreter. She was the person who got us connected with that family because his brother, Fahed's brother, escaped the war in Iraq and went to her monastery. And so that's how we came there. So there was a lot of work I had to do just in understanding anything about the Yazidi religious tradition, because we know very little. And I'm not going to even try to explain any of it here. I know it is monotheistic. Many of the practices are familiar practices, like giving charity, practices like fasting, practices like feasting with your community and sharing your bounty and sharing your food. But there are other practices that are beautiful, with which we're unfamiliar, and you'll see some of those in the film.
Yes. Were there any behind the scene unique moments that stood out to you? Or maybe lessons that you end up learning throughout this process that you maybe incorporated in your life?
Well, the process of documentary filmmaking is quite humbling.
Yeah.
Alfred Hitchcock Sheikh said, in narrative films, the director is God, but in documentary, God is the director. Which means we don't have control over what people say. We don't have control over the lighting. We don't have control over the weather. We just have to be ready to capture what is there at the time.
Yeah.
And so there was a lot of uncertainty. For example, we had to cross through 13 checkpoints between Baghdad and Sinjar, Shingal, in order to get to our location. And you never knew which militia was running which checkpoint, if you were going to get through, if they were going to send you back, if you were going to be interrogated.
Yeah.
So there were some actual logistical moments.
Yes, that's
like
even
that.
hard to imagine going through 13 checkpoints. But thank you so much for bringing this film to our festival. We're so excited and honored to have you here, to hear the story and to see it on the big screen finally. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Diana.
Thank you so much for your time. Thank you.